Here with me now is Washington Post reporter Jenna Johnson, as well as our old CBSN pal, but now CBS News digital journalist Sopan, both of whom have been covering the Trump campaign practically since the beginning. Did you ever think you'd be here, Sopan? When CBS News first assigned you, you left us over at CBSN and you got on to be a DJ, and they said you're getting Trump, Sopan.
Yes, this has totally been predictable. This is exactly how I saw the last year going. I called this from the start. Absolutely, yeah. This is exactly how I saw this going.
All right. I want to ask you both. There was an interesting moment earlier today when Donald Trump was on the stage with his daughter Ivanka, and they were testing the microphone, and Trump said, you know, I love journalists. They're so honest. What's it been like covering the campaign, Jenna?
Well, every day it's a little different. You know, some days he loves 30% of the media. Some days he loves 15% of the media. You know, some days he's going after the Washington Post.
It's a very wildly fluctuating pie chart here.
I've seen him in many press conferences or events. He'll point to you and call you out by name. You know, he'll say, you know, not Jenna, and he'll right?
Yeah, no, he definitely. No, as Jenna said, it's, you know, his rallies are very much like concerts, you know, or like a stand-up comedian. He's got kind of like this set list of material that he kind of cycles through depending on what location he's in. So if he's in Tennessee, he'll talk a little bit more about, let's say, guns or something like that. You know, just depends on, he does have a message that he tailors specific audiences, but for the most part, it's kind of like a greatest hits concert. Actually, a staffer once told me that she felt that his rallies were like a punk rock Jimmy Buffett concert.
Punk rock Jimmy Buffett.
And I wasn't, you know, I've never seen Jimmy Buffett in concert.
I have. You know? and in my younger years, I used to go to many Black Flag, Henry Rollins.
Oh, there you go.
So,
yeah, but, you know, his rallies are honestly much closer to, you know, spectacles than they are, you know, your typical political rallies at like diners or, you know, at, you know, in front of veterans or you know, whatever the event may be.
All right, Jenna, let me ask you. Trump has taken the stage tonight to accept the Republican nomination. What are you expecting to hear from his speech?
Well, one thing that we've learned in covering Donald Trump is that you can never really expect anything. You can never really predict anything. Even if you're given a general idea of what he might say or what he might do, anything can happen at any point. The theme of the night is Make America One Again. And this whole week is supposed to have been about unifying the party, you know, letting go of all of these grudges from the primaries and heading towards the general election. We haven't really seen that happen yet.
For months.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, Donald Trump
exactly.
has over and over and over again expressly said that he doesn't feel like the party needs to be unified for him to win the general election.
And he's also,
as recently as last week, by the way, he said that.
And he still consistently brags about his primary victories, and he even brags about the fact that he crushed the Never Trump movement. Are we going to see a softening of that, or is that going to be business as usual?
Well, Paul Manafort, his campaign chairman, has said that they're trying to go for a more joyful tone, a softer tone, that they're trying to go for unity, that they allowed Ted Cruz to speak last night, even though they knew that there was not going to be an endorsement. And so we'll see if that plays out or not. Remember that this week started Monday night with Donald Trump taking the stage to "We Are the Champions," you know, in a way kind of gloating about being the, you know, victor from the primaries. And now they need to worry about the general election in the fall, and this campaign has been trying for months to make that transition. And, you know, they're hoping that they can do that tonight.
And on the party unity thing, let's remember that on the first night of the RNC, Donald Trump called into Fox News and blasted John Kasich. Sitting home state governor.
But he did that during, he called into Fox News during the 8 p.m. hour when the mother of the person
counter-programming. You know, counter-programming his own convention.
Which is unprecedented.
Unprecedented, but I, you know, just from, if you look at Donald Trump's public statements, this is not a person that is interested in either A, party unity, or B, pivoting. Just last week he was asked, okay, are we finally seeing a pivot? And he says, I'm going to give you a terrible answer. No. That's last week, the week before the convention. He's been asked over and over again, are you pivoting? Are we going to see a softer side? If there's one thing, I think, you know, speaking for Jenna as well, we have seen in the last year, Donald Trump doesn't want to soften. He has said that explicitly over and over again.
Let me ask you about this. The Muslim ban, it hasn't been mentioned all that much this week. I don't think I've heard it. But on the campaign trail, when you guys were on the campaign trail, there was one moment, I should say, during the convention when somebody who is Muslim got up to speak, and somebody from the crowd yelled, "No Islam." And this is somebody that Donald Trump invited to be on the stage. On the trail, when you hear some of the things that Donald Trump says that people, let's be fair, on the other side, but also moderates have said are racist or anti-religion, how does the crowd respond? How does the crowd respond when he says he wants to ban Muslims or build a wall? We know how they respond when he says he wants to build a wall, but some of these other things.
One of the more surprising moments for me on the trail was when he initially announced the Muslim ban. We were in South Carolina, and he read the statement. And he read the statement, and he said, and there was long, sustained applause. That hasn't really gone away, nor has the Muslim ban. Even though there's been this, kind of narrative that's developed that he's walking it back, Donald Trump himself has not explicitly walked back the Muslim ban. And the exit polls have shown in various primaries that the vast majority of Republicans actually kind of supported the Muslim ban. So his people, the vast majority who I've spoken to of Trump supporters, they love the Muslim ban. They think it's great. They don't want him to soften it, which might be a reason why we haven't heard him actually come out and say, no, 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 no. We are not explicitly banning Muslims from the country, because that actually has not happened yet.
Jenna?
Yeah, it's interesting because Donald Trump has made a variety of different statements that people have interpreted as maybe him softening on this or limiting in that way. And when you reach out to the campaign and ask for clarification, you don't hear back. And even his top surrogates don't really seem to agree on exactly where he stands on this ban. The party chairman said in an interview over the weekend that there would not be a religion test. Well, that's suddenly not a Muslim ban anymore.
Right.
But yet you go to DonaldTrump.com, DonaldJTrump.com, and there is his original statement
so
from December.
On the website, the complete ban is still there.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And just this week, Paul Manafort said that it's based on territories.
Right.
The campaign has had numerous opportunities to clarify what territories does that. What does that include? Does that include France, Belgium, Russia? What are we talking about? He did say Iraq and Syria specifically. Paul Manafort did, but where else?
Right.
Can people from Turkey's a NATO ally?
Right.
Are you going to ban immigration from
Georgia? What about Georgia?
Right.
The Republic of Georgia.
But the campaign has had numerous opportunities to clarify, and the campaign has not. So has there been a Muslim ban walkback? I don't know. None of us do, really.
I mean, there's so many, and that's the thing I think a lot of people have questions on. I think when you, generally people assume that by Muslim ban he means Syria, Iraq, and countries in the Middle East. Well, what about Uzbekistan and Indonesia, one of the largest Muslim countries in the world, the Philippines?
And I think it's also important to note, he hasn't been talking about it as much at campaign rallies, but when I'm out in the stands talking with people, they're talking about it. There is a lot of fear in this country of terrorism, and the string of recent attacks that we've seen here and overseas has really scared a lot of people. And, they hear the name Islamic State, and in their minds, they quickly assign a lot of their fears to the entire religion of Islam. And when they hear someone get up and say, we're just going to ban these people, this is something that has surprisingly resonated with a lot of people, with a majority of Republicans, but also a sizable number of independents, and even in one poll, a small number of Democrats.
Yeah, that's it's interesting that you point that out, and we've been naming all these countries that have sizable Muslim populations. Like, I worked in Nigeria, and there's a huge percentage of Muslims. There's a huge percentage of Christians, a huge percentage of Muslims in the Philippines. But it's something that I think a lot of people are missing when they think about that.
To Vlad,
let me just